times it's very easy to take things for granted. There are over 70,000 hearing impaired individuals in Hawaii who will view this scene differently. Deaf people are not physically disabled and can function independently in our society. Continuing to break down stereotypes, the first annual Hawaii's Deaf Celebration did just that by bringing hearing and hearing-impaired communities together.
It's been my honor to meet some very remarkable people in the planning for this festival. My wife Ramona has been involved, and through her I have met wonderful people who have worked very hard for the betterment of our community. And I'm proud to be here today. I'm proud to play a small part in this first annual festival. And I believe each year this festival will grow in importance and significance and become truly one of the landmark events in our community calendar. In order to honor today's festival and the people that have worked so hard to make it possible, I've issued a proclamation, and I'd like to share it with you if I could. Office of the Mayor, City and County of Honolulu Proclamation. Whereas there are over 70,000 people in Hawaii who are deaf or hard of hearing, and whereas the deaf community, with its own language, customs, and history, has much to offer and contribute to our state. And whereas the Hawaii Services on Deafness and the Aloha State Association of the Deaf are working to present the first Hawaii's Deaf Celebration on August 3rd, 1996. And whereas the special event will present and promote the proud heritage, culture, and arts of Hawaii's deaf community, and increase understanding and appreciation between the deaf and hearing community. And whereas the celebration will offer workshops, exhibitions, crafts, and vendor booths, and a performance entitled ASL Cafe. Now, therefore, I, Jeremy Harris, Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, do hereby proclaim August 3rd, 1996, as Hawaii's Deaf Celebration Day in the City and County of Honolulu, and encourage all citizens to attend this educational and cultural event and extend congratulations and best wishes for a successful and memorable festival. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City and County of Honolulu to be affixed, done this 24th day of July, 1996 in Honolulu, Hawaii. It is officially August 3rd, Hawaii's Deaf Celebration Day. To all the organizers and sponsors, my sincere congratulations.
A panel discussion was held to establish stronger links of communication with the hearing community.
Growing up, I went into mainstream school. Yes, that was okay. I've learned the hearing world, its etiquette, its morals, how to behave correctly when eating, etc. But it was never anything that was inspiring for me. I hadn't realized that I was deaf yet. Hearing world, was a world full of sounds. And, I looked at it through silence. When I went to college, it was, still mainstream. And I associated more with deaf people. I observed my surroundings, and it was a very big change for me because I noticed that we were equals. The only thing that made a difference between me and other people was that I was deaf.
The use of American Sign Language has grown tremendously, and though not taught automatically to hearing-impaired children, ASL is in high demand from the hearing culture.
The Department of Education, who have historically ignored deaf people and not provided with American Sign Language or Hawaiian education. And we really do want this ASL education in schools, and it would really help. It should be part of the curriculum. Many of the public schools wanted to teach American Sign Language, but the DOE was asked about setting up a program in schools. And many deaf people would be happy to do that.
We have finally made one big step here with Hawaii Deaf Celebration. And I think one thing we can do is that we can invite people to come and see our community. Invite people from the DOE to come, and then they will be able to include this in the future.
Okay, first of all, now I want to tell you first of all that my entire family are all people who can hear. There are 17 of us. 14 girls and 3 boys. And I am 16th in line. Not 6th, I am 16th. Almost at the end, that's me. And I'm the only one who is deaf. And my family cannot sign at all. So communication was interesting. My sister would work on my lip reading skills. And she became my interpreter. And so she would speak for me. And communication went through her. And oftentimes I got punished for all sorts of things. And I finally realized it was because of my sister and how she interpreted things. But more on that later. So I identify myself as deaf because I'm most comfortable in how I communicate. I can communicate anything I want through American Sign Language. I mean, I didn't know much about black culture because of a lack of communication, it was difficult for it to be passed down. So I decided to embark on a personal journey about being black. And I started to get it. I felt like I didn't have the same self-esteem that some black children had. I mean, sure, you know, they were all giving it to each other, but it was interesting to see how things developed. Deaf African American Leadership Council, let's see if I've got that right. And so we went ahead and that was established. Black and deaf and black and hearing individuals trying to build up black culture for deaf students who happened to be African American. Well, I took advantage of the situation and learned from the situation as well. And then we went ahead, and I'm not sure if we can go ahead and pronounce this right. Ujuma. I'm not sure if I can say that. It's an African word, but anyway, leave that up to the interpreter. It's Swahili. It's a Swahili word. You know, and that's one of the many African languages that unify African culture. So we had kids, we had adults, and we brought them together in this organization. And I insinuated myself in this situation. And I became a black deaf person as a result. How was that in a nutshell? It was a long story, but I tried to make it as brief as possible.
I think the most important thing and the most important issue is communication and access to communication. That is the most important thing that we should be looking at. And how are we able to communicate with each other? I mean, how? That is the big question. What is the best way to help both communities communicate with each other, to be able to share information and emotion and expressions?
Hawaii's Deaf Celebration gave island residents a chance to learn about deaf culture through folklore.
There's lots of different stories, and there's different ways to do it. You can add as much or as little gestures as you like.
Creative drama.
Let's have you try walking with the essence of a turtle.
And language.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother,
and share. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, have fun. Play around with it. You know, you can work with people. You can work with children. Children love signing songs. You know that, so.
Nathy Marbury and Rita Corey are nationally acclaimed deaf artists who, along with Ed Chevy, the event coordinator, appeared in the ASL Cafe.
This is an African folk tale. One day there was an ant walking along his merry way when he came upon a treat, a huge, gigantic breadcrumb in the middle of his path. Now, to an ant who is very, very teeny, a breadcrumb that we think is minor looks gigantic to him. Well, he was thrilled by the prospects of having this fabulous taste sensation. And he wanted to be able to take this breadcrumb back to his hole. So
he tried as he may. He grunted and groaned to try to move this gigantic breadcrumb. And he decided that he just can't. There was just no way that he can do this. He said, I can't, I won't, I refuse. No way can I move this thing. Well, a bee happened to be flying by. Buzzing by, the ant signaled her to come down and asked her to give him a hand. Well, the bee simply said, I'm too busy pollinating my plants, so I'm sorry, I can't give you a hand. The ant said, thanks for nothing, bee one. How am I going to move this? This is the best thing that's ever happened in my life, but I can't move it. When all of a sudden, a beetle, who was a prankster, decided to pull one over on the ant. The beetle came by. When the ant asked for assistance to try to move this crumb to his anthole, the beetle said, well, no problem, I'll give you a hand, sure, wink-a-wink. So, the ant was thrilled, and the beetle decided that in his inimitable way, he would eat half of the crumb as his way of helping the ant. The ant said, get out of here! You told me you were going to help me, and what did you do? You decided to eat it. Well, the beetle said, I gave you a hand, didn't I? Now it's much lighter and easier for you to carry. Get out of here, the ant said. Well, the beetle not only was well fed, but played a good joke on the ant. So once again, the ant started naysaying about how that he couldn't go ahead and move this even if he tried, that there was no way he was ever going to be able to get this breadcrumb out of the road and back to his anthole. Well, through this whole scenario, there had been a spider up in a tree. As she had been weaving her web, all she heard was, I can't do this, I don't know how to do that, I refuse to do this, this is terrible, I refuse, I refuse, I refuse. And she finally had just had her fill of it, and she got an idea. So she worked her way down to where the ant was, who was continuing his tirade about not being able to move this breadcrumb, and she interrupted his naysaying. She said, I can give you a hand if you like. In fact, I know that my family would love this taste sensation, so I'll just take it off your hands. Well, the ant said, no, get away, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, forget it, it's mine, I'll do with it what I can. Forget it, just get out of my sight, you can't have it, it is mine. Away with you. Of course, all along, the breadcrumb he had been moving. Well, the spider started to laugh, and she said, look at what you've got in your clutches. The ant said, oh my heavens, I didn't realize I could be moving this. So the spider said, if you can't, you can't, but if you can, you can. You've got to change your attitude, Buster. And when you think you can, you can. Change that negative into a positive. And if you out there want to do anything you want, you can, because you're just like the ants.
This celebration of language and arts acted as a catalyst, combining an understanding and appreciation for the hearing impaired while offering insights on education and employment. Through workshops, exhibitions, and performances, Hawaii's Deaf Celebration raised much-needed funding for Hawaii's services on deafness and the Aloha State Association on the Deaf.
Money makers, no shouts out to them other player haters. Lil Red and the boys from the south. What's up? We can't cut it out. What's up, what's up? What's up, what's up, what's up? Ladies! What's up, what's up? What's up, what's up, what's up? Up to the biggest house! Up to the biggest house! Up to the biggest house! Round, shout it round! Roll day, back to get loose. 8-time player, still got the juice. To make them freaks get broke. Turn the party out, then we gon' cut it off. Cause it ain't no thing to rock and show, but before we hit the stage, gotta
Cause you ain't making no ends. Big boy, you ain't making no sense. You bad out on the crew, but as you can see, we really don't need you. Look at the face in your face. Wanna be the man, but you tryna